Level up your life. 10 Stoic lessons on embracing responsibility and finding purpose. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. Welcome back to Stoic in Your Life. In our previous episodes, we've covered essential Stoic principles, from mastering our emotions to fostering self-discipline and taking decisive action. But today, we dive even deeper into what it truly means to level up your life through responsibility and purpose. The Stoics believe that duty isn't a burden but a source of strength and fulfillment. Each of us has a unique role to play in this world, and by embracing our responsibilities, we unlock our true potential and discover the joy that comes from purposeful action. In this episode, I'm sharing 10 powerful Stoic lessons that will help you take ownership of your life, align your actions with your core values, and find deeper meaning in everything you do. From shifting your mindset to embracing challenges, these insights will inspire you to take control of your journey and leave a lasting impact on the world. So, are you ready to step into your power and live with purpose? Let's dive in. Don't forget to like this video, comment below on how you're embracing your duties, and share it with others who are ready to level up their lives. Lesson 1. Stoic Work Principles. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. We're diving deep into a principle that lies at the core of not only Stoicism, but also personal success: the Stoic work ethic. It's more than just punching in the hours or going through the motions. It's about cultivating a mindset where every task, every challenge, becomes a part of your growth. The modern world is filled with distractions, endless emails, meetings, and tasks that can seem mundane. But the Stoics teach us to approach work with a sense of purpose and intentionality. This is the foundation of productivity and fulfillment, and it's what sets you apart in a world that often glorifies busyness over meaningful effort. Let's start with the basic Stoic principle of doing your duty. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus emphasize the importance of focusing on what is within your control, your actions, your decisions, and the effort you put into your work. One of Marcus Aurelius's famous quotes is, "Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life." This speaks volumes about the importance of fully committing to your work, whether it's a grand project or a small, everyday task. Think about it. When you approach your work with the mindset that each action is significant, you transform even the smallest duty into something meaningful. Your focus sharpens, and suddenly, even the mundane becomes an opportunity for growth. The Stoic mindset revolves around transforming the way you perceive your job. Too many people dread Mondays, grumble through meetings, and live for the weekend. But what if you shifted your perspective? Instead of seeing your work as a burden, see it as an opportunity to express your character. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that he was not defined by external praise or rewards, but by how he handled his duties. Similarly, you are not defined by the paycheck you receive or the recognition you get. Instead, your value is in the integrity and diligence with which you perform your work. Whether you're managing a business, working in an office, or even handling personal projects at home, every task becomes a reflection of your inner discipline and resilience. This shift in perspective gives you control over your attitude, transforming "I have to" into "I get to." It's easy to view the grind of daily work as exhausting, but the Stoics saw this process differently. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." The challenges we face at work, the stressful deadlines, difficult coworkers, or demanding clients, are not meant to break us but to forge our character. Each obstacle is an opportunity to become stronger, to master your emotions, and to develop the kind of inner strength that will carry you through not just your job, but life as a whole. The next time you're confronted with a problem at work, instead of reacting with frustration or defeat, see it as a test of your Stoic resolve. This practice of viewing challenges as exercises for your mind and spirit helps build resilience and ensures that you're always learning, always growing. Moreover, the Stoic principle of detachment from outcomes is particularly relevant in today's fast-paced, results-driven culture. We live in a world where success is often measured by external achievements, whether it's a promotion, hitting a sales target, or receiving public recognition. But Stoicism teaches us to detach from the outcome and focus instead on the process. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means that your job satisfaction shouldn't be tied solely to results. Yes, goals are important, but the real satisfaction comes from knowing you gave your best effort, regardless of the outcome. When you learn to focus on the process and let go of the need for constant validation, you start to cultivate a deeper sense of fulfillment that can't be shaken by external circumstances. In our modern world, where the lines between work and personal life are increasingly blurred, the Stoic work ethic offers a balanced approach. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle, constantly chasing after the next goal or milestone, but the Stoics remind us to stay grounded. Marcus Aurelius, who was one of the most powerful men in the world as the Roman emperor, wrote in his Meditations about the importance of staying humble and remembering the greater purpose behind his actions. He wasn't just ruling for his own glory. He saw it as his duty to contribute to the well-being of the empire. Similarly, no matter what your role is, whether you're a CEO, an entrepreneur, or someone working a 9-to-5, your work is about more than just personal gain. It's about contributing to something larger than yourself, whether that's your family, your company, or your community. So how can you bring Stoic principles into your everyday work life? First, start by acknowledging the value of each task. No matter how small or seemingly insignificant, each duty contributes to the bigger picture of your life. This is what the Stoics called eudaimonia, the flourishing life that comes from living in alignment with your values. Second, practice patience and perseverance. As Seneca noted, "He who is brave is free." Freedom comes from mastering your internal state, not from external circumstances. The more you practice discipline in your work, whether it's pushing through a tough project or staying focused during long meetings, the more you free yourself from the distractions of the modern world and the need for constant stimulation. Lastly, embrace the Stoic principle of amor fati, or love of fate. This means accepting everything that happens in your work life, even the challenges and setbacks, as necessary parts of your growth. Instead of wishing for things to be different or easier, embrace them as they are. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully. "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Each obstacle is part of your path, helping you refine your character and sharpen your skills. The Stoic work ethic is about more than just productivity. It's about bringing purpose and intention to every task you do. By focusing on what's in your control, embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, and detaching from the outcomes, you'll not only improve your work performance but also find deeper meaning and satisfaction in everything you do. Remember, it's not about the external rewards or recognition. It's about showing up every day with integrity, discipline, and a commitment to your personal growth. How will you apply these Stoic lessons to your life? The journey to leveling up begins today, and it starts with how you approach your next task. Keep pushing forward, and let the Stoic virtues guide your path. Lesson 2. Embracing duty and challenges. One of the most profound aspects of Stoic philosophy is the concept of duty, understanding that we all have roles and responsibilities that are not only essential for our growth, but also for the well-being of those around us. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Never shirk the proper dispatch of your duty, no matter if you are freezing or hot, groggy or well-rested, vilified or praised, not even if dying or pressed by other demands." This powerful quote serves as a reminder that no matter how difficult or inconvenient a situation may be, we are called to fulfill our duties with commitment and integrity. But what does this mean for us in the modern world, where challenges constantly arise and obligations can sometimes feel overwhelming? The truth is, much of our suffering comes not from the duties themselves, but from the way we perceive them. Many of us view our responsibilities as burdens or stressors, things we would rather avoid if given the chance. However, Stoicism teaches us to embrace our duties as opportunities to grow and contribute something meaningful to the world. When we shift our perspective, our duties become not something we have to do, but something we get to do. Every task, no matter how mundane or tedious, becomes a chance to practice virtue, discipline, and resilience. In today's fast-paced world, it can be easy to fall into the trap of thinking that certain responsibilities are beneath us, or that challenges are meant to be avoided. But what if the very things we are avoiding are the keys to our personal growth? Consider a story that many of us can relate to. A person who has a demanding job, family obligations, and personal aspirations. At times, they may feel pulled in every direction, tempted to cut corners or avoid certain responsibilities in order to lighten the load. But over time, they start to notice that the more they try to escape their duties, the more stressed and unfulfilled they become. It's a vicious cycle. Procrastination leads to anxiety, avoidance leads to guilt, and soon they're overwhelmed by the very things they were trying to escape. This story is a reflection of many people's modern struggles, where the overwhelming nature of life's responsibilities can feel like a weight too heavy to carry. Yet the Stoics would argue that it's not the weight of the responsibilities that's the problem, but the way we carry them. How can we begin to see our challenges differently? How can we transform our sense of duty from something that drains us to something that fuels our purpose? The Stoics provide a clear answer. By embracing challenges head-on, we cultivate resilience and mental strength. As Epictetus taught, difficulties are things that show a person what they are. When we willingly accept the difficulties that come with our responsibilities, we give ourselves the chance to rise to the occasion and grow stronger in the process. This is not about seeking out hardship for its own sake, but about recognizing that challenges, rather than obstacles, are stepping stones to personal and spiritual growth. Each time we face a tough situation at work, a conflict in our relationships, or a personal struggle, we are being given the chance to practice patience, wisdom, and courage. These moments, uncomfortable as they may be, are where our character is truly tested and developed. One modern-day example of this principle can be seen in the lives of those who serve in emergency services: firefighters, police officers, or paramedics. Their jobs are demanding, often dangerous, and filled with constant challenges. Yet these individuals don't shy away from their duties. They face the risk head-on, knowing that their actions are making a difference. Many will say that while the job is difficult, it's incredibly fulfilling because they know they are serving a higher purpose. This level of commitment is something we can all aspire to in our daily lives, even if we don't face life-and-death situations. Whether it's balancing family responsibilities with a demanding career, or pushing through personal obstacles to reach a long-term goal, embracing your duties with the right mindset can lead to a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. One of the keys to embracing duty, according to Stoicism, is the idea of focusing on what is within our control. You may not be able to control the workload that's handed to you, or the challenges that arise in your life, but you can control how you respond to them. Do you approach your duties with a sense of dread and reluctance, or do you take them on as opportunities to practice excellence and personal growth? Marcus Aurelius believed that by focusing on our actions and intentions rather than the outcomes, we could find peace in any situation. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By adopting this mindset, we free ourselves from the stress of trying to control everything around us and instead focus on the one thing we can always control: our own actions. The idea of duty extends beyond personal gain. It's also about contributing to the greater good. Stoicism teaches that we are all interconnected, and our actions have an impact on the world around us. When we fulfill our responsibilities, we are not only benefiting ourselves, but also contributing to the larger community. In the workplace, this might mean going the extra mile to help a colleague or approaching your tasks with integrity, even when no one is watching. In your personal life, it might mean being there for your family and friends when they need support, even if it's inconvenient. These actions, though they may seem small, create ripples that spread far beyond what we can see, and in fulfilling our duties to others, we also fulfill a deeper need within ourselves, the need for purpose and connection. So, what can we take away from this lesson on duty? First, recognize that your responsibilities, no matter how challenging or mundane, are opportunities for growth. Instead of avoiding or complaining about them, embrace them as part of your journey. Second, remember that how you carry out your duties says more about your character than the outcome itself. Focus on what you can control: your actions, your effort, and your mindset. Lastly, understand that fulfilling your duties is not just about you, it's about contributing to the world around you. By embracing challenges and taking responsibility for your role in life, you not only grow as an individual, but also make the world a better place. How will you begin to shift your mindset toward your responsibilities? What duties can you embrace today that will help you grow and contribute to something greater? The path to fulfillment is found in the way we handle the challenges life presents to us, so let's commit to facing them head-on with courage, wisdom, and a sense of purpose. Lesson 3. Transforming have to into get to. One of the most transformative shifts in thinking that Stoicism teaches is learning how to change our mindset from I have to into I get to. This simple yet powerful change in perspective can reshape the way you approach life, turning obligations that seem like burdens into opportunities for growth, gratitude, and purpose. Many people go through life feeling weighed down by their responsibilities, seeing their tasks, whether at work or home, as something forced upon them. They think, I have to go to work, I have to do the laundry, or I have to attend this meeting. But when you approach these duties with the mindset of, I get to, everything changes. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This quote perfectly encapsulates the essence of this lesson. The circumstances of life will continue to present us with tasks and obligations. But what if instead of viewing them as obligations, we saw them as privileges? Let's break this down. When you say, I have to go to work, it implies that work is something you must endure, something that's weighing you down. But when you change it to I get to go to work, it reflects the realization that work is a privilege, an opportunity to earn a living, to grow professionally, to provide for your family. There are countless people who are unable to find work, who would give anything for the opportunity to contribute and make a difference. By reframing your perspective, you stop seeing work as a chore and start seeing it as a blessing. This change of mindset has a profound impact on your attitude and how you show up for life. The same applies to other responsibilities, such as doing household chores, taking care of loved ones, or attending meetings. Instead of dragging your feet thinking about how much you dread these tasks, what if you saw them as opportunities to practice discipline, patience, and care? You get to take care of your family, you get to contribute to your community, you get to learn new things at work. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, reminds us in his meditations, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This is your chance to embody those virtues you've always admired, diligence, integrity, gratitude, by how you engage with your everyday duties. When you approach your tasks with a mindset of privilege rather than obligation, you naturally bring more energy, positivity, and excellence to everything you do. Even the most mundane activities become opportunities to improve yourself and to contribute to the world around you. Imagine for a moment the shift in your life if every time you caught yourself saying, I have to, you replaced it with, I get to. Instead of feeling burdened by your daily tasks, you would start to approach them with a sense of appreciation. The Stoics believed that happiness is not found in external pleasures but in aligning your attitude with your values. How would your life change if you saw each responsibility as a gift, an opportunity to express your highest self, to serve others, and to grow? The shift from I have to I get to is all about perspective, and as the Stoics teach us, our perspective is always within our control. Another benefit of adopting this mindset is the ability to handle challenges with greater resilience. Life is filled with obstacles, and when you have a have-to attitude, these obstacles feel like even greater weights on your shoulders. But when you switch to get to, you start seeing challenges as opportunities to grow stronger and more capable. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Think about the last time you faced a significant challenge, perhaps at work or in your personal life. How much more empowered would you feel if you viewed that challenge not as something you had to deal with, but as something you got to face? Each difficulty then becomes a stepping stone to greater wisdom and strength. It's a chance to refine your character, much like a blacksmith forging steel in the fire. Now consider how this mindset can improve your relationships. How many times have you felt overwhelmed by the demands of being a spouse, a parent, a friend? The responsibilities can seem endless, and it's easy to slip into a mentality of obligation. But what if you flipped that on its head? Instead of feeling like you have to take care of your partner, what if you saw it as a privilege to love and support them? Instead of feeling like you have to pick up your kids from school or help them with their homework, how would things change if you reminded yourself that you get to be present in their lives and shape their future? The quality of your relationships will dramatically improve when you start showing up with a grateful heart instead of a reluctant spirit. As Epictetus wisely said, "He who is not grateful for what he has will not be grateful for what he gets." This lesson also extends to your personal growth. Many people view self-improvement as a daunting, overwhelming task. They think, I have to read more books, I have to exercise, I have to meditate. But what if you realize that you get to do these things? You get to improve yourself, to expand your mind, to take care of your body. Not everyone has the luxury of time or the ability to invest in personal development. When you see these practices as gifts, rather than chores, you approach them with enthusiasm rather than reluctance. At this point, you might be asking yourself, how can I start applying this mindset shift in my daily life? Start by becoming aware of your language. Every time you catch yourself saying, I have to, pause and reframe it as, I get to. It may feel awkward at first, but with practice, you'll notice a dramatic shift in your mood and energy. This small change in language has a ripple effect. It doesn't just affect your mindset, it changes how you engage with the world. You start showing up with more joy, more purpose, and more gratitude. The real takeaway here is that life is full of opportunities to transform the mundane into meaningful. Whether it's at work, in your relationships, or in your personal growth, adopting a get-to mindset allows you to approach every task with gratitude and purpose. It makes your life richer, more fulfilling, and helps you become the best version of yourself. So, I'll leave you with this question. What are the things in your life right now that you've been treating as obligations? And how will you begin to see them as privileges instead? When you make that shift, you'll not only elevate your own life, but you'll inspire those around you to do the same. Lesson 4. Protecting your inner virtue. Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look. Marcus Aurelius. This quote from the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher perfectly encapsulates the essence of today's lesson, protecting your inner virtue. In a world full of distractions, challenges, and temptations, it can be all too easy to lose sight of who you truly are, of the core principles that should guide your life. But your inner virtue, that small spark of goodness, wisdom, and strength, is the most important thing you possess. Protecting it, nurturing it, and allowing it to shine through your actions is the key to living a fulfilling life. In Stoicism, your inner virtue is your moral compass. It's what defines your character and keeps you grounded in the face of adversity. How often do we let external factors, stress, anger, jealousy, or greed, dim our inner light? Stoicism teaches us that these external events should not shake us, for they are beyond our control. What we can control, however, is how we respond to them, how we protect that inner core of virtue regardless of what life throws at us. The concept of protecting your inner virtue isn't just about avoiding negative influences. It's about actively cultivating positive habits, attitudes, and behaviors that align with the best version of yourself. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of the importance of staying true to his nature, regardless of the chaos around him. He wrote in Meditations, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This means that whatever you allow to influence you, whether it's negativity, anger, or fear, will shape who you are. To protect your virtue, you must be mindful of what you let into your mind and heart. It's about being selective with the people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, and the way you spend your time. Are you feeding your mind with wisdom and truth, or are you letting in the toxic noise of the world? Think about the constant barrage of social media, news, and entertainment that often focuses on divisiveness and drama. If you aren't careful, this noise can creep into your mindset and shape your thoughts, weakening your ability to stay centered in your own values. To better understand how to protect your inner virtue, consider a modern-day metaphor. Think of your virtue as a garden. Just like a garden needs regular care, proper sunlight, and protection from pests, your virtue needs attention and safeguarding from harmful influences. If you neglect your garden, weeds will grow, the soil will erode, and eventually, it will become barren. The same happens to your virtue if you allow negative emotions, toxic relationships, or unproductive habits to overrun your life. The weeds of envy, anger, and laziness can choke out the goodness you're trying to cultivate. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, reminds us, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." It's through life's challenges, the friction we face, that we are given the opportunity to grow and strengthen our inner virtue. Instead of avoiding difficulties or seeking an easy path, we should embrace these moments as necessary for our personal development. Challenges are not meant to destroy us, but to refine us, to make us better, wiser, and more resilient. In today's world, it's easy to let outside forces influence our thoughts, actions, and even values. Whether it's peer pressure, societal expectations, or workplace demands, we often find ourselves compromising our inner virtue to fit in or succeed. But protecting your virtue means having the courage to stay true to your principles, even when it's difficult or unpopular. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This is the essence of living virtuously in a world that often values material success over moral integrity. You might be ridiculed or misunderstood for prioritizing virtue over superficial gains, but the long-term reward is far greater. You maintain your self-respect, your integrity, and most importantly, your peace of mind. Let's relate this to modern life. How many times have you been in a situation where standing by your principles seemed like the harder choice? Maybe it was at work, where cutting corners or participating in office gossip felt like the norm. Or perhaps in personal relationships, where compromising your values seemed like the easiest way to avoid conflict. In these moments, protecting your virtue means making the conscious decision to stay aligned with your values, even if it costs you in the short term. It's about recognizing that the external rewards of life, money, status, approval, are fleeting, but your inner virtue is something that remains with you always. It's what defines who you are at your core, and no one can take that away unless you let them. In order to maintain your inner virtue, you need to practice mindfulness. Be aware of your thoughts and actions and reflect regularly on whether they align with the person you want to be. Marcus Aurelius often spoke of the importance of self-examination, writing, At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work, as a human being. His point was simple. Daily life presents countless opportunities for us to practice virtue, whether it's through patience, kindness, or diligence. Every morning, ask yourself how you will live in accordance with your values, and remind yourself that each day is a chance to strengthen your inner virtue through your choices. One practical way to protect your inner virtue is through the practice of gratitude. When we focus on what we are grateful for, it becomes easier to protect ourselves from envy, greed, and dissatisfaction. Gratitude helps us stay grounded in what truly matters, reminding us that external circumstances do not define our happiness. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." By being grateful for the present moment and the virtues you are cultivating, you can protect yourself from the negative emotions that often cloud our judgment and pull us away from our true selves. Protecting your inner virtue is about being intentional with your thoughts, actions, and environment. It's about standing firm in your values, even when the world around you tries to pull you in different directions. It's about recognizing that challenges and trials are part of the journey, not obstacles to avoid. Each moment offers an opportunity to strengthen your inner virtue and become a better version of yourself. Ask yourself today, how can you better protect your virtue in your everyday life? What actions, habits, or people are dimming your inner light? And what changes can you make to nurture your inner strength? Remember, your virtue is your most valuable possession. Protect it fiercely, and it will guide you toward a life of meaning and purpose. Thank you for joining us in today's video. Before we dive into the next part, I want to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude. It's an honor to have you here as part of our community. Please don't hesitate to share your personal thoughts or story in the comments. If you're not sure what to say, feel free to simply comment, "I am a newbie," if you've just joined us, or "I am Stoic," if you've been following along for a while. Your engagement means a lot to us and motivates us to keep delivering content that helps you on your journey. Now, let's continue this journey of growth and wisdom together. Shall we? Lesson 5. Stoic Resilience in Hard Times. One of the most valuable lessons Stoicism offers us is the ability to build resilience in the face of adversity. Life, as we know, isn't always smooth. We encounter setbacks, disappointments, and even moments of crisis. The Stoics understood this well and believed that how we respond to these difficult moments is what defines us. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote encapsulates a core Stoic belief. It's not the external challenges that should dictate our lives, but how we mentally and emotionally respond to them. Stoic resilience is about embracing hardships not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth, for testing our character, and for becoming stronger individuals. Let's break down what this looks like in modern life. Take a moment to think about a recent hardship you faced, whether it was at work, in your personal relationships, or even within yourself. Maybe you missed a promotion you were working hard for, or perhaps you've been struggling with personal finances. In moments like these, it's easy to get frustrated, overwhelmed, or even give up. But this is where Stoic resilience shines. Instead of dwelling on what didn't go right, Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot change and focus on what we can control. If you didn't get the promotion, what's your next step? Will you let it defeat your motivation, or will you use it as an opportunity to learn, improve, and become a better version of yourself? This perspective shift is key to resilience, transforming setbacks into stepping stones for success. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, famously wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." This metaphor reminds us that just as physical muscles grow stronger through resistance and effort, Our mental and emotional strength is developed through facing difficulties. If we never experienced hardship, we would never grow or develop resilience. The reality is, challenges are inevitable. So, why not use them to our advantage? Think of someone who faces regular adversity in their career, like an entrepreneur. They might experience business failures, rejection from investors, or struggles with growth. Yet those who are resilient push through, learning from each failure and adapting with each lesson. They don't let temporary setbacks define their journey. In fact, many successful entrepreneurs have stories of multiple failures before they found their breakthrough. This is the essence of Stoic resilience, not avoiding hardship, but embracing it as part of the process. But resilience doesn't just apply to major life events. It also plays a role in everyday life. How often do small frustrations, like a traffic jam, an argument with a partner, or a bad day at the office, throw off your mood or ruin your day? Stoicism encourages us to remain calm and composed in the face of these minor irritations. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is a reminder that while you can't control external events, you can always control your response. Next time you're stuck in traffic or dealing with an irritating situation, ask yourself, is this worth my peace of mind? The answer, more often than not, is no. Instead of allowing external circumstances to dictate your emotional state, Stoicism empowers you to stay grounded and focused on what truly matters. In our modern world, resilience is more important than ever. We live in a time of constant change, whether it's economic shifts, technological advancements, or personal life transitions. The ability to bounce back from hardship and adapt to change is crucial for our well-being. We've seen this on a global scale during the pandemic, when millions of people were forced to adapt to new realities, both personally and professionally. Those who were able to navigate this uncertainty with resilience were often the ones who thrived, not because their circumstances were easier, but because their mindset allowed them to find solutions instead of dwelling on problems. So, how can we cultivate this Stoic resilience in our own lives? One of the first steps is practicing acceptance. This doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. Rather, it means accepting the reality of a situation and letting go of what you can't control. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that the universe is constantly changing, and it's pointless to resist this flow. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. He wrote, "Once you accept that change and hardship are inevitable, you free yourself from the anxiety and frustration that come from resisting them." Another key to resilience is preparation. The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum, which translates to the premeditation of evils. This practice involves mentally preparing yourself for the worst-case scenario, not as a way to dwell on negativity, but to remind yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. By imagining the possible challenges ahead, you can prepare yourself emotionally and mentally so that when they happen, you're not caught off guard. For example, if you're starting a new business venture, instead of focusing only on the potential success, take time to consider the possible setbacks, financial difficulties, client rejections, or market competition. Doing this allows you to approach your challenges with a level head, ready to adapt and respond instead of feeling blindsided. Lastly, resilience comes from finding meaning in hardship. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist, once wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." This aligns with Stoic teachings, which emphasize that even in the harshest of circumstances, we can choose how to respond. Hard times can often feel meaningless, but when we frame them as opportunities to grow, they take on a new significance. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Or, how can I become stronger from this challenge? These questions shift your focus from the pain of the situation to the potential benefits. So, the next time you find yourself in the middle of a tough situation, whether it's a small annoyance or a major life challenge, remember the Stoic approach. Stay calm. Focus on what you can control and remind yourself that every hardship is an opportunity to grow stronger and more resilient. It's not about avoiding difficulties, but about meeting them with courage and wisdom. How can you apply these principles to your life right now? What challenges are you facing, and how can you turn them into opportunities for growth? Remember, resilience is not built overnight. It's developed every day in the way you handle both the small and big challenges life throws your way. Lesson 6. Morning Purpose and Power. Let's talk about mornings, the time of day that sets the tone for everything that follows. How you start your morning determines not just your productivity, but your mindset, your mood, and ultimately, your success. The Stoics believe that morning is when you can harness your energy, set your intentions, and focus on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, started his mornings by reflecting on his responsibilities and reminding himself of his purpose. He wrote in his Meditations, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This practice of gratitude and reflection allowed him to approach each day with a sense of clarity and purpose. But how often do we rush through our mornings, distracted by emails, notifications, and the demands of the day, without ever taking a moment to ground ourselves? The truth is, if you don't take control of your morning, the rest of your day is likely to spiral out of control as well. The power of a purposeful morning cannot be overstated. When you wake up with intention, when you make time to focus on what's important to you, you give yourself the mental and emotional foundation to handle whatever challenges may come. Think about it. How often have you had mornings where you rushed out of bed, skipped breakfast, and felt overwhelmed before your day even really began? Compare that to the days where you took the time to center yourself, maybe with a quiet moment of reflection, a healthy breakfast, or some form of exercise. Which day felt more productive, more fulfilling? The Stoics believed that the first few moments of the day are a chance to align yourself with your values. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of mindfulness and self-discipline. He said, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." In other words, each morning is a fresh opportunity to approach life with purpose, regardless of what happened the day before. So, how can we bring more purpose and power into our mornings? One of the first steps is to eliminate distractions. In today's world, it's easy to wake up and immediately reach for your phone, diving into social media or emails before you've even fully woken up. This not only disrupts your focus, but also sets a reactive tone for the rest of the day. Instead of letting outside forces dictate your mood and priorities, take control of your morning by creating a routine that nurtures your mind and body. Start with something simple, like practicing gratitude for a few minutes, or writing down your intentions for the day. Marcus Aurelius often asked himself in the morning, "What do I have to do today? What are my responsibilities as a human being?" This question helped him prioritize his actions based on his values and responsibilities, not just his immediate desires or distractions. You can do the same by asking yourself what really matters today and how you can align your actions with your deeper purpose. Another key to a powerful morning is physical movement. The Stoics valued the connection between the mind and the body, understanding that physical health contributes to mental clarity. You don't have to run a marathon or spend hours at the gym, but incorporating some form of exercise into your morning routine can help you start the day with energy and focus. Whether it's a brisk walk, a quick yoga session, or stretching, moving your body wakes up your mind and prepares you to face the day with resilience. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who was once a slave, understood the importance of discipline and self-care. He taught that we should make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. By taking care of your physical health in the morning, you are making the best use of what is within your control, your body, your energy, and your focus. But it's not just about physical preparation. Mental preparation is just as important. The Stoics were big advocates of setting mental intentions for the day, often preparing themselves for potential challenges. This practice is known as premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. By mentally preparing yourself for the difficulties that may arise, you're not blindsided when things don't go as planned. Instead, you've already anticipated potential problems and are ready to face them with composure and calm. Imagine starting your morning with a clear sense of what might go wrong during the day and preparing yourself emotionally to handle it. Instead of reacting with stress or frustration, you could approach challenges with the wisdom and calm of someone who expected them. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free," meaning that when we are mentally prepared for adversity, we free ourselves from the grip of fear and anxiety. This kind of mental preparation not only builds resilience, but also gives you the confidence to tackle your day, knowing you're ready for whatever comes your way. Another important aspect of a Stoic morning is reflection. Before you jump into your tasks, take a moment to reflect on what you learned from the previous day and how you can improve today. What mistakes did you make? Where did you fall short of your values? This reflection isn't about self-criticism, but about growth and self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius often spent his mornings thinking about how he could better align his actions with his principles. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By reflecting on your thoughts and actions from the day before, you gain insight into how you can live more intentionally today. It's a daily practice of self-improvement, one that builds over time into greater wisdom and personal fulfillment. So how can you start applying these Stoic principles to your morning routine? Begin by taking just a few minutes each morning to set your intentions, reflect on your values, and prepare yourself mentally and physically for the day ahead. If you often feel overwhelmed by the demands of daily life, try incorporating the practice of premeditatio malorum, anticipating the challenges you may face so you can handle them with grace. And above all, remember to approach each morning with gratitude. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." By filling your morning with positive, purposeful thoughts, you set the tone for a day filled with clarity, productivity, and peace. What will you do tomorrow morning to start your day with purpose and power? How will you ensure that your actions align with your values and that you approach the challenges of the day with resilience? Every morning is a new opportunity to become the best version of yourself. Make the most of it. Make the I. Lesson 7. The virtue of doing good without reward. Another most profound lesson in Stoicism is the idea that we should strive to do good not for recognition or reward, but because it is the right thing to do. The Stoics believed that virtue is its own reward, and that seeking external validation or compensation for our actions undermines the true essence of living a virtuous life. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "When you've done well and another has benefited by it, why do you still look for a third thing besides, the credit for the good deed or a return?" This message is simple but powerful. Doing good for the sake of goodness is the highest form of morality, and it frees us from the constant pursuit of praise or material rewards that can distract us from our true purpose. But how does this apply to your life today, in a world that often measures success by the amount of recognition or reward you receive? Think about it for a moment. How often do you perform a task, help a colleague, or offer support to a friend, and deep down, expect something in return, whether it's gratitude, acknowledgement, or even a favor in the future? While this expectation is natural, Stoicism challenges us to move beyond it. The Stoics understood that the need for external validation is a trap that leads to dissatisfaction and frustration. If we rely on others' approval to feel good about ourselves or our actions, we give away our power and our sense of peace. Seneca wisely said, "The reward of a good deed is to have done it." This means that the act of doing good should be fulfilling in itself. It's about aligning your actions with your values, knowing that you are living in accordance with your principles, and that should be enough. This principle can be difficult to practice in a society that constantly reinforces the idea of getting something in return. Whether it's through social media, likes, or recognition at work, we are often taught that our actions are valuable only when they are acknowledged by others. But let's consider for a moment the freedom that comes from not expecting anything in return. When you let go of the need for recognition, you become less concerned with how others perceive you and more focused on being true to yourself. You're no longer performing for an audience, but instead, you are living authentically. This mindset shift allows you to find fulfillment in the act of doing good itself, regardless of the outcome. Let's apply this to modern life. Think of the many people in your life who do good without seeking anything in return. It could be the coworker who always helps others with their tasks, the parent who sacrifices their own comfort for the well-being of their children, or the friend who offers a listening ear during difficult times. These acts of kindness often go unnoticed or unappreciated, yet they are the foundation of strong communities and relationships. Now, imagine how much more peaceful and fulfilled we would feel if we approached every good deed without any expectation of acknowledgement. It's liberating to know that you're acting from a place of integrity, rather than waiting for external validation that may never come. Epictetus, another prominent Stoic philosopher, once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This advice speaks directly to the virtue of doing good without expecting anything in return. It's not about talking about the good you do or seeking praise for it. It's about living it every day, quietly and consistently. When you embody this Stoic principle, you build a strong character that is unshakable, no matter what recognition or criticism you may face. The key is to focus on your internal moral compass, rather than the opinions or judgments of others. This inner strength and sense of purpose are what sustain you through life's challenges and uncertainties. But of course, this is easier said than done. It's natural to want to feel appreciated for your efforts, and there's nothing wrong with enjoying praise when it comes. However, the Stoics remind us not to be dependent on it. The danger lies in making external recognition the driving force behind our actions. If you are constantly seeking validation, you are always at the mercy of others' opinions, which can fluctuate and be unreliable. Instead, Stoicism encourages us to find peace and contentment within ourselves. When you do good simply because it aligns with your values, you are no longer bound by the need for external approval. And this brings a deep sense of freedom and fulfillment. If you've made it this far, you're already embracing the path of Stoic growth. Drop a comment saying, "I am leveling up," to show your commitment to living with purpose and responsibility. Stick around, there's more wisdom ahead. Lesson 8. Staying calm in tough news. The eighth important lesson we can learn from Stoicism is how to stay calm when faced with tough news. Life inevitably brings its share of challenges, unexpected setbacks, difficult conversations, or devastating personal news. And in these moments, our natural reaction is often to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or even angry. But the Stoics teach us that it's not what happens to us that truly matters, but how we respond to it. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote serves as a powerful reminder that we cannot control the circumstances of life, but we can always control how we react to them. So, how do we develop the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of bad news? And why is it such a valuable skill? When we receive tough news, whether it's a personal crisis, a professional setback, or even something beyond our control like a global event, our initial reaction is usually emotional. We feel the surge of fear, anger, or frustration that arises from the unexpected. The Stoics, however, believed that while emotions are natural, they don't have to control us. Epictetus, another key figure in Stoicism, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This concept is essential for building resilience and inner peace. The Stoics understood that reacting emotionally to difficult news often leads to poor decision-making, stress, and a sense of helplessness. Instead, they encouraged a more mindful and reasoned approach to dealing with adversity, one where we take a step back, assess the situation logically, and decide how to move forward in a calm and collected manner. To understand this better, let's apply it to modern life. Picture a situation where you've just received bad news at work. Perhaps you were passed over for a promotion, or your project was canceled after months of hard work. The immediate emotional response might be frustration, anger, or even doubt about your abilities. But in this moment, ask yourself, does reacting with anger change the situation? Does dwelling on the disappointment make the news any easier to handle? Likely not. What would happen if instead of reacting immediately, you took a moment to pause, reflect, and control your emotions? This is the Stoic way. By focusing on what you can control, your reaction and next steps, you can approach the situation with a clearer mind and more effective problem-solving. The initial sting of bad news is real, but how you choose to move forward from that moment is entirely in your hands. This calm response to bad news isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending that nothing is wrong. It's about acknowledging the emotions, but not letting them control your actions. Seneca, a Roman Stoic philosopher, said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How often have you found yourself worrying about something or imagining worst-case scenarios after receiving bad news, only to realize that the reality of the situation was far less catastrophic than you anticipated? The truth is, when we allow our emotions to spiral out of control, we often magnify the situation in our minds, making it seem far worse than it really is. Stoicism teaches us to ground ourselves in the present moment, to focus on what is within our control, and to take deliberate, rational actions moving forward. Think about a time in your life when you faced a significant personal challenge. Maybe it was a relationship that ended unexpectedly, a health scare, or financial difficulty. In those moments, it can feel as if the world is crashing down, and it's easy to get caught up in a whirlwind of negative emotions. But imagine how differently things could have played out if you had been able to maintain a sense of calm and perspective. Staying calm in the face of adversity doesn't mean you're indifferent to what's happening. It means you're choosing not to let the situation define your mindset. By practicing Stoic principles, you learn to separate the event from your reaction, and in doing so, you become more resilient and better equipped to handle life's inevitable challenges. Lesson 9. Balancing Work and Life the Stoic Way. One of the most relevant challenges in today's fast-paced world is finding a balance between work and life. We often hear people talk about the importance of work-life balance, but how many of us truly manage to achieve it? The pressures of work, the endless to-do lists, and the constant need to be productive can leave little room for personal well-being, family, and self-care. But what if I told you that the Stoics, thousands of years ago, had already figured out the key to balance? They understood that life is not about endless work or chasing success, but about living in alignment with your values and ensuring that you make time for what really matters. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Roman emperor, wrote, "If you seek tranquility, do less." This statement may sound counterintuitive in a world that glorifies hustle and busyness, but its wisdom lies in focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the unnecessary. The Stoics believed that work is important, but they also emphasized the need for leisure, reflection, and time spent on self-improvement. They understood that balance is not about dividing time evenly between work and life, but about giving your full attention to each area of your life when it needs it. How often do you find yourself checking work emails during family dinner, or thinking about work projects when you're supposed to be relaxing? This constant mental tug-of-war creates stress and prevents us from fully enjoying any aspect of our lives. The Stoic approach teaches us to be fully present, whether we're at work or at home, and to focus on the task at hand without letting other concerns invade our mind. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." To achieve true balance, The Stoics believed we must first identify what is truly within our control. Epictetus taught, some things are up to us, and some things are not. In the context of work-life balance, this means understanding that while you may not be able to control the demands of your job or the hours required, you can control how you approach your work and how you manage your time outside of it. Instead of worrying about external factors, like deadlines or expectations, focus on what you can control, such as your attitude, your effort, and your boundaries. Setting clear boundaries between work and personal life is a key aspect of Stoic living. By prioritizing what is truly important to you, you can avoid becoming overwhelmed and maintain a sense of peace even when the demands of life are high. But how do we apply this in a practical sense? Let's think about a modern-day example. You're a professional juggling a demanding job, family responsibilities, and your personal aspirations. It feels like there are never enough hours in the day, and the stress of trying to balance everything leaves you feeling drained. What would the Stoics advise in this situation? First, they would tell you to focus on what you can control. You may not be able to control the number of meetings you have, but you can control how you approach each task, ensuring that you give it your full attention without letting it spill into your personal time. Second, they would encourage you to set clear boundaries. When you're at work, focus fully on work. But when you're home, be fully present with your family or in your personal activities. This ability to compartmentalize and give each aspect of your life its due attention helps prevent burnout and allows you to be more productive and happier in all areas. The Stoics also believed in the importance of making time for reflection. How often do you take time to step back and evaluate your life? Marcus Aurelius spent time each day reflecting on his actions, asking himself if he had lived according to his principles and if he had made time for the things that really matter. This daily practice of self-reflection is critical in maintaining balance. It allows you to assess whether you're spending too much time on work at the expense of your relationships or personal well-being. It also gives you the space to think about your priorities and make adjustments where necessary. Ask yourself, am I giving enough time to my personal growth, my family, and my health? If the answer is no, then it's time to reassess your schedule and make room for the things that matter most to you. One of the greatest traps we fall into is believing that success at work will bring us happiness and fulfillment. While professional achievements can be satisfying, the Stoics remind us that true happiness comes from living a life of virtue and balance. Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This means not sacrificing the present moment in the hope that a future success will make us happy. If you're constantly working late hours and neglecting your personal life in the hope of a future promotion, you may find that when the promotion comes, it's not as fulfilling as you imagined. Instead, the Stoics encourage us to find contentment in the present moment by living in alignment with our values and making time for the people and activities that bring us joy. In today's fast-paced world, finding balance can feel like an impossible task. But the Stoics offer us a way to simplify it. By focusing on what is within our control, setting clear boundaries, and making time for reflection, we can create a life that feels balanced and fulfilling. The key is not to strive for perfection or an even split between work and personal life, but to give your best to each aspect of your life when it needs your attention. Remember that balance is a dynamic process, not a fixed state. Some days, work will require more of your time, and other days your personal life will take priority. The goal is to approach each day with intention and ensure that, over time, you're making space for what truly matters. Lesson 10. Mastering Life Through Stoic Growth. What does it mean to master life? The Stoics believed that mastery over life didn't come from controlling the external world, but from mastering the internal one, our thoughts, reactions, and mindset. They understood that true growth is not about the things we achieve or the external rewards we gain, but about the development of our inner character. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, and one of Stoicism's most influential figures, said it best: "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this: and you will find strength. This timeless wisdom is the foundation of mastering life through Stoic growth. It's about embracing responsibility for your personal growth, living in alignment with your values, and finding purpose in your actions. In a world that constantly demands more of you, whether in your career, family, or personal goals, Stoicism offers a path to mastery that begins with self-awareness and leads to inner peace. To begin this journey of growth, it's essential to understand that self-mastery is not an overnight achievement. It is a continuous process of reflection, learning, and practice. The Stoics emphasize the importance of personal accountability, taking responsibility for your actions, thoughts, and reactions to the world around you. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, reminds us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the cornerstone of Stoic growth. Life will always present challenges, setbacks, and obstacles, but how we choose to respond is what defines us. When you encounter difficulties, instead of reacting impulsively or blaming others, Stoicism teaches you to pause, reflect, and ask, how can I grow from this experience? This shift in mindset empowers you to see every challenge as an opportunity for growth, allowing you to rise above the circumstances and become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Let's relate this to modern life. Think about a situation where something didn't go as planned. Maybe you lost a business deal, received criticism from a boss, or faced a personal crisis. In moments like these, it's easy to become frustrated, angry, or even defeated. But the Stoic way invites you to see these moments differently. Rather than dwelling on what went wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to improve myself? By adopting this mindset, you transform obstacles into stepping stones for personal growth. This is where real mastery lies, not in avoiding hardship, but in embracing it as part of your journey toward self-improvement. One of the most powerful tools the Stoics used to promote personal growth was daily reflection. Marcus Aurelius practiced this regularly by journaling his thoughts, actions, and emotions. He would ask himself if he had lived up to his values, and if he had responded to the day's challenges with integrity. He once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This statement is a reminder that our mindset shapes our experience of life. If you spend your days focusing on negativity, frustration, or disappointment, those thoughts will dominate your reality. But if you consciously choose to focus on gratitude, purpose, and growth, you will find that your life becomes richer and more fulfilling. Daily reflection allows you to check in with yourself, assess how you're doing on your path to growth, and make adjustments where necessary. It's a practice that anyone can incorporate into their routine, whether by journaling, meditating, or simply taking a moment each day to reflect on your actions. Another key aspect of Stoic growth is understanding that progress is gradual. Seneca wisely said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." This highlights that growth is not about waiting for the right moment to arrive, but about consistently working on yourself so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready. Personal development doesn't happen in leaps and bounds. It's built slowly through small, consistent actions over time. Whether it's improving your discipline, cultivating patience, or learning to control your emotions, Stoicism teaches that mastery comes from daily effort. Each day presents an opportunity to grow just a little bit more, and over time, these small efforts compound to create significant transformation. So, instead of focusing on immediate results, focus on the process of becoming better each day. In today's world, where success is often measured by material wealth, titles, or public recognition, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. Stoicism reminds us that real success comes from living in alignment with your values and staying true to your principles, regardless of the external rewards. Seneca once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This means that mastery over life isn't about accumulating more, but about being content with what you have and finding fulfillment in the pursuit of virtue. The more you focus on personal growth and inner development, the less you'll be swayed by external pressures or the need for validation from others. This inner peace is the ultimate goal of Stoic growth, knowing that no matter what happens in the outside world, you are grounded, centered, and living with purpose. As we wrap up this video on Level Up Your Life 10 Stoic Lessons on Embracing Responsibility and Finding Purpose, we've delved into how Stoic principles can guide you toward a life of deeper meaning, growth, and happiness. By taking responsibility, embracing your purpose, and navigating challenges with inner strength, you can transform your daily life into one filled with fulfillment. What step will you take today to start living these Stoic lessons? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below and let me know how you plan to apply these ideas. And if you haven't yet, make sure to like and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more practical wisdom on personal growth and purposeful living. Let's continue leveling up our lives together.